and welcome to the Made It in Music podcast. I'm Riley Taylor, our community manager here at Full Circle Music, and I'm so excited for you to hear this upcoming episode because today I sat down with Seth Mosley for an Ask Me Anything session with our live online audience from our Song Chasers community. Today we will be talking about making money in music. This was recorded along with our live online audience from our Song Chasers community. You can learn more about songwriting and find other music industry resources at fullcirclemusic.com. For now, let's dive into the episode.
You want to go through some of the questions in the chat?
Yeah, we got a lot of questions in the chat, a lot of follow-up. So we can go back to Brian's question from a while ago. I was just thinking of asking you last night how you deal with awful sounding stuff as a producer, bad vocals, bad songwriting, non-time-keeping players.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you got to get really good at editing. I mean, that's one of the things I learned early on at the studio is like, man, always record to a click track because then you can edit it. If you record to a click, you can fix timing. Like timing, you can pretty much always fix. On bad vocals are a little tougher. I mean, you can only do so much with it. Definitely, Melodyne, lots of comping. I always take a lot of takes. Like if you're working with somebody who isn't as strong of a singer, have them do 15 takes in various, like, hey, sing it really loud. Hey, sing it kind of quietly. Hey, sing it with a bunch of emotion. Hey, sing it however, just get a bunch of options and you just probably will have to comp it. Doubles can kind of help, like stacking vocals can help things, like do a center, a left, a right, do a low octave, do a high octave, whatever makes sense, do harmonies, those types of things. Putting like effects on things, like sometimes singers will do that just for like a vibe, like a lot of the alternative stuff, like you may listen to like a Foster the People record and it's really stacked and affected out. The guy isn't necessarily an incredible singer, but it's got a vibe to it and it's more of that type of thing. So you have to just sort of gauge it voice by voice and style by style. It is a process for sure. And here's the other secret is you are always allowed to replay stuff. That's been my secret weapon a lot of the time. I haven't had to do that a lot in the last several years because thankfully we get to work with talented musicians. But in the beginning, I was replaying a lot of stuff from bands that just weren't great performers. Like they would never really know it. Like I would replay it on time and on tune. We'd recut drums. We'd recut everything. So singers, obviously you can't recut, but
they would know.
They would know for sure. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Brian. Your job is just to make it sound amazing. They don't necessarily have to know how you did it. What did Quentin say right there? He said
he's found amazing radio to be worthwhile, not going to make a fortune or a star, but it's straightforward and getting some airplay.
Nice. Definitely
amazing
check that
radio.
out. Never heard of Amazing
it,
Radio,
yeah.
But check that out. Probably an internet radio station, I'm guessing.
Yeah, okay.
It all helps.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. We've got airs. I have a friend that is a friend of someone that is famous that is starting to do Christian musicals. My friend wants me to send her a demo. Is a demo good enough to send her, or would be best just to have a master?
So it sounds like she is asking you to send a demo, maybe for like, hey, if you got any song ideas, send them my way. So I would really consider that a demo. A demo is just like, it's a term that basically means it's not for release, but this is just for the idea of it. So the thing that we always talk about is make the demos as great as you can make them sound, like as close as you can get them to sound like a master without spending a year on it and
money,
tons and tons and tons of money. May have to spend a little money, but we're talking hundreds of dollars versus thousands. So or get really good at production, so just make it as good as you can. That's the long and the short of it. Great question. Great question.
Awesome. All right. Steven asked or said, I've tried to go the sync route, but haven't had any luck getting songs accepted into any music libraries like MusicBed, etc. Any recommendations into how to get started building a career making money in the sync world?
Yeah. I would first of all go back and rewatch. We have a whole training with Michael Elsner on this in our resources. I'm not sure if you got to see that or not, Steven, but this is exactly what Michael does, and it's exactly what he teaches. You want to learn from people who are experts and people who are actually doing it in that route. That's why we work really hard to filter through the sea of quote unquote experts out there on the internet who may or may not actually do it for a living, but they've created a course and they sell stuff. Michael is a guy who's actually doing it every day, just like we're doing it every day. He's doing it every day. And so I'd go back. That's a free training. Go back and rewatch that to get started. He's got, some free materials and some paid materials, some courses and stuff. If you want to get into the sync world, would just recommend starting there with one of his courses, and we can provide links. I think we have some links, private links set up with him somewhere. So.
Yeah, if you can't find it, let me know. I'm sure I've got it somewhere.
Exactly. I mean, but the long and the short of it is, it's like anything. It's going to take time. Nothing's going to happen overnight. It's definitely a numbers game. I mean, you were talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces of music. Like it's not just, hey, I created an album for sync and it's not getting any traction. Why is it not working? Well, I don't know. Maybe did you do your homework first? Are you writing with a specific purpose in mind? Is the quality good? Is the metadata there in the proper way? Is it uploaded the proper way? Is it in the right file formats? Does it actually have a place, like musically? Does it belong in any kind of sync genre? Because there's a lot of different genres even under the sync world. Mm-hmm. So it's a big question. It's in some ways it's almost like saying, how do I make money in music? Because it's just very broad. You have to become a student of that niche if you want to make money in it.
Start looking at the music supervisors for shows and movies and things.
Yeah, that was what
Michael. Yeah, you should start doing your research because it is different.
Yeah,
than just Spotify.
Yeah, if you go to IMDb, he showed us how to do this on that training. But you can just go to any movie. Like let's go to The Recruit. Here's a new one that's coming out. Oh wait, I clicked on The Recruit and it took me to Avatar. I don't know why that. Where's the credits at? I guess this one's not out yet, right?
I don't think so.
So if we click on any movie on here, it's going to give us all the credits. Okay, here, we'll just go top 250. We'll just click The Shawshank Redemption. That's top movie on IMDb. Great movie. And then you go down to the credits, all cast and crew, music by Thomas Newman. Okay, Google Thomas Newman. Who's Thomas Newman? Mm-hmm. Obviously this is from 1994, so you probably want to find a more up-to-date example than this, but you can go through and Google like who are the editors, Google the editors, who are the sound editors. There's Zach Davis as a sound editor. Editors are often the ones, the end user of your music pieces. So in addition to pitching to music supervisors, you want to pitch to, even build relationships directly with editors too. Dale's a sound editor. You can find, supervising sound editor, John M. Stacy. That sounds like an important guy to reach out to. Special effects. I mean, all that kind of stuff. All these things, like this is all just free public info that you can find. There's a whole there's a whole music department. Like in this case, this was probably a very heavily orchestral, like composed movie. So this may not be the best example where they were like, hey, we're just trying to find songs for this.
And maybe find, if you're like watching a movie or TV show where you hear something that sounds like something that you do, that's kind of in your lane. That's another, like, I don't know, something I would suggest is to go look up that movie that you're watching or that show and then be like, who is the supervisor on this? Who are the editors on this? Because odds are those are the people you want to talk to.
Exactly. So even if I go in like Yellowstone, that's a huge show. Mm-hmm. And each it's probably going to be one music supervisor, at least across seasons.
Right.
There are going to be a lot of different directors and editors, but you can still go on there and find out, okay, here's all the different producers. That's probably not going to be super helpful to reach out. Let's see. These are all the assistants. You can manage a lot of people. There's a lot of people. There's a gang boss, whatever that means. Probably want to meet the gang boss. Let's see. Set dressers, supervising sound editor, Jason King. That sounds like a guy that you may want to connect with. Find him.
Yep.
And again, like anything here, it's going to be, you'll still send out a bunch of messages and maybe you get one response. Supervisor, music supervisor. That's a huge term you want to look for. So yeah, we could go honestly spend the entire time just talking about that, but hopefully that gives you just some ideas to get your brain spinning. And again, I would check out Michael Elsner and his resources for that. So
yeah.
Great
and
question.
Sam Tenez honestly has done a lot in the sync world, and I think we did something with him a while back that's probably also in the
kind of sync focus.
It was kind of sync focused as well, and so that might be good to
he has a really great podcast episode actually from a few years back with us that I would go back and listen to that on Made It Music Podcast.
Yeah, so those are just some tips.
Great questions.
Awesome. So Charlene has a question in follow-up to Jessica. So I've not signed as a publisher with BMI because I don't know what I'm doing yet. It would be a name only. Would I be hurting myself by signing up so I could just get the publisher share when I don't know what they do?
I would go ahead and sign up. I mean, if you have songs that are being released, then I would go ahead and sign up. I mean, it sounds like from what Jessica said, you don't even necessarily have to have a quote unquote company name. If they're just paying directly through to you and you don't need to actually even set any separate account or name up, then just do that. I mean, it's free. Probably takes 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Just do it.
As far as I remember, I created my publishing company on the distributor side.
Okay.
I feel like I can't remember.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it was free to do it. You just create it. It's just you just make it up.
Some publishers do offer, or not publishers, some distributors offer publishing collection. Yeah. I think CD Baby might do that. I think DistroKid might do that.
I'm with DistroKid.
I don't have any experience saying whether it's good or not, but if you have nothing else, then that's at least do that.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure. Cool. Vanessa, another fun question. Since Angela is in Switzerland and the other three of us are in separate states, if we form a group, how do we deal with taxes?
Yeah, you really don't even need to deal with any kind of overlap there. I mean, each person is responsible for reporting income that they have received individually. There's no you don't pay taxes for her, she doesn't pay taxes for you. I only pay taxes on what I earn, essentially. So you don't really need to deal with that. Just it's like anything, just filing it as additional income on your yearly tax return. It's taxed. Royalties are taxed just like any other normal income, normal tax rate, whatever your tax bracket is, 30% or so. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Does that make sense? Hopefully that answers the question.
PRO stuff.
Oh yeah, PRS is UK. Sorry, I think I said it was after. UK's PRO is PRS. Sorry, it's a lot of confusing acronyms.
It is, yeah. All right. Jessica's asking, how long does it take to see the money? I released my first song about a month ago. Had a lot of feedback on social media, so I know people have purchased and are streaming. TuneCore pays every 2 weeks, but I haven't been paid anything. Does it take longer to get things rolling when you first get started?
No, I would just look on your TuneCore analytics. I mean, on TuneCore, it will show you how many streams, how many purchases you have. I mean, have you gone onto your analytics and looked at that? Because that's it would break it all out. I mean, obviously to be getting paid, there have to be actual sales and streams happening. But yeah, TuneCore should automatically do it. They pay out monthly, I believe.
Every 2 weeks. TuneCore does, but I haven't seen it yet. I guess I don't know where to find the analytics, so I'll look into that.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with TuneCore's platform. We actually used to use it a long time ago. But even back then, when they first were starting out, there was a really great analytics section, and you can look at, okay, well, how many sales, how many streams, and then they'll break down how many dollars that equates to, obviously. So it gives you all the info, it tells you what each dollar is coming from, basically, which is really nice. So
very cool. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm just such a newbie. I don't know. I gotta go find that section.
All good.
Yeah, great questions to ask. I mean, you want to get very familiar with your analytics section on whatever distributor you're using.
Yeah, because I'm just sitting, waiting, going, do I need to reach out to them? Is this normal that it would take does it take kind of months to kick in when you first are getting things rolling? Yeah, but you're saying I could be.
It might take a couple months, but I wouldn't think it would take much longer than that. Like it's
Okay.
streams and digital sales are reported pretty much instantaneously. So if you're racking up a lot of them, then TuneCore should be flagging them. If you have a Spotify for Artists profile, that also has a whole analytics breakout, just like Manifest was showing us yesterday. So you can cross-reference and see, hey, it says I have 1 million streams on Spotify, but TuneCore says I have 100. Like, okay, well, that's when you would reach out to TuneCore and say, here's a screenshot from my Spotify profile that's showing I have X amount of streams over here. And they do have people that are, your customer service you can reach out to on that. But you want to make sure to do your homework on, just on the front end in terms of where the analytics are and if everything is set up properly.
Cool. That's helpful. Thank you.
For sure.
Yeah. Kids is asking, how much do you have to invest before making money, excluding time?
Yeah. There's really no easy and fast answer to this. It's going to literally be different for everybody. In the beginning, I think the most valuable thing you can invest is time. Like that's the thing that we all have to invest a ton of. For me in the beginning, I guess my investment, if I look back, like before I actually started making money in it, it's different because I started in my parents' basement and I was recording my friends' bands and they were paying me, I had to buy like some recording equipment, which my dad, loaned me some money for that. And I gave guitar lessons to pay for that. So I had to spend, a couple $1,000s buying computers, some microphones and stuff like that. So it's incremental. It's not so much like you have to spend X amount and then you make X amount. It's like I would invest in it and then I would do an EP for some friends' bands and that would pay me $1,000 or $500 or whatever. And then I would reinvest that back into it. And I'd buy something else. I'd buy another mic or whatever. Just keep kind of continually upgrading. And ultimately, I don't encourage people to go like just drop tens of thousands of dollars on like, hey, well, I got to go create this super fancy, nice studio. Nowadays you don't need a ton of that stuff. You just buy it as you go. I'm still like acquiring things that I like, and I've sold a lot of things over the years that haven't served me well too. So it's gear is part of it, but obviously when you're going to nowadays put out your own music, doing things that don't cost anything at all, but they just take a lot of time, those are ultimately a lot of the more effective things, which is stuff we've talked about, like social media, TikTok, playing out live, promoting your records and your songs however you can, showing up at writers' rounds. It's often the stuff that doesn't cost anything, because you really can't, like Manifest said this yesterday, you can't buy a fan base. You have to kind of build it over time and you have to earn it. And so you just got to be thinking in terms of really more probably time than money, but you do have to spend occasionally some. It's just, it's case by case. There's not really an easy short answer to that question. Got the thumbs up at least, so hopefully give a little bit of clarity.
Yeah. Yeah. Dave saying sync is a long waiting game.
It is. Yeah. And I would just zoom that out to the whole anything in music is a long waiting game. Like regardless of whether you go into sync, regardless of whether you go into country, regardless of where you go into Christian or pop or whatever it is, like any of them is going to be a long game. So just it's more about picking one and just sticking with it.
Yeah.
Having the focus, like Manifest was saying. What did he say that acronym was? Focus?
Which one? Yesterday?
Something until successful.
Oh.
Forget other crap until successful or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll have to go back and watch that.
Is there a best boy? I think so. I think they have that in the movies. I always wanted to be that. I don't know what they do, but it's like if you go to like the credits at the end of a movie, like best boy is always in there somewhere. I don't even know what that means.
What does that mean? Yeah.
Don't know.
Hey, gotta start somewhere.
Okay. BMI charges to register as a publisher. Probably not that much though.
No, I don't remember it being that much.
I'd imagine it's fairly small on the front end.
CD
Baby does publishing. Okay.
Cool. Okay. Dave, I'm scoring my first full-length film next year. It's a low-budget film, but I was considering releasing a soundtrack album as a way to make more money. Is that a good idea if the film isn't well known?
It could be a good idea if the film likes the idea and they're willing to kind of help promote it, like if they see it as an added value of like, typically soundtracks will be just kind of a value add or a way for a film to continue telling the story about it and get other artists involved to help have the art. Like if the soundtrack has 10 artists on it, chances are each of those artists is going to promote it to their fan bases, and then people are going to discover the movie through that. So it could be a good idea. I mean, if you want to go and list a bunch of feature artists and say, hey, I'm putting together this project for this movie, the one caveat is you got to help promote it. You can go back to the filmmaker and say, hey, would you be open to doing this, and see if there's any synergy there. So it could be a good idea. It could do nothing, but that's 99% of everything in music all of it could be a good idea. We don't necessarily know. You just have to try a lot of different things, and you just never know what's going to be the thing.
Something will stick eventually.
Exactly. So I would say if you have the time for it and you feel like it's something you're passionate about, it could be worth it. Yeah. It could be fun to do.
Yeah. That's exciting though.
Very exciting.
Can't wait to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Marissa wrote a song, a couple of songwriters based out of Australia. Entering the splits in BMI was confusing, but glad I had that experience. Yeah. Just getting your feet wet, doing it. You'll learn a lot.
That's right.
Does anyone here use Lander for distribution? Just got a membership. We'll be releasing music through them next year.
I'm not familiar.
I'm not either.
Lander I knew as a mastering platform, but...
And Marissa said love using their mastering. Yeah.
Lander, creative tools for musicians. I actually have some of their plugins. They've just started doing plugins. Distribute. I mean, I would assume they're probably all fairly similar at this point. You may want to check and see what actually, like, are there ones where you can do like master splits like we were talking about earlier? They've got a Lander playlist. That could be something. Lander Studios. Yeah, I mean, it looks kind of like any of the other ones. So I would maybe just suggest trying a couple of them and seeing which one you like the best.
Yeah. Just shelled out over $1,000 on Black Friday sales, sound libraries, virtual instruments, plugins, but it was all very strategic and will pay for itself quickly.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you gotta spend money to make money in some ways, especially if you're a producer. I mean, that's
part of
bounds
it.
on what you invest in.
Totally. I think BMI charges $150 to become a publisher.
Yeah.
Excess is success. Is that what he said? I don't know.
Maybe. Sometimes, but other times not necessarily. Sometimes minimalism is success. Stripping things back to the essentials and investing only in what is necessary.
Yeah.
Let's end up with Kenneth Cole's question. Some great discussion this morning.
Yeah.
Before we get to his question, any quick announcements, things coming up you want to let people know about? Got different time for coffee chats tomorrow, I believe.
Trying to think what's going on. Yep. We've got tomorrow little Christmas coffee chats. Shouldn't be.
I'll be wearing my Christmas sweater. If you want to join us wearing your Christmas sweaters,
I don't have one, but
you gotta get one. Come on.
So that is tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central Time. Just note that time change.
Are you gonna have a hot chocolate bar?
I don't think so. All of it's gone.
Okay.
We had a Christmas party last night. We had a hot chocolate bar. It was great.
Yeah.
But yes, that is tomorrow.
3 p.m.
3 p.m.
Not 10 a.m.
No, we will not be here.
Yeah.
And then I believe next week we have kind of ending our month with personal finances with Logan.
That's going to be a good one.
He knows all about it. And so, that's going to be on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Time as well. And he'll be bringing all of his strategies for personal finances. And I think that'll be great to end the year with and kind of, as we're diving into 2023, getting everything in order. And obviously this month's challenge was to create that kind of financial plan. I hopefully this training will be a really good jumpstart for that as well.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
So to end up, Kenneth Cole says, what is the advantage of DistroKid versus CD Baby versus other distribution agencies? There really is none. You kind of just have to find, like, does one of them have a feature that helps you to do the thing that you want to do? Like, whether it's, do they provide publishing services and you need publishing services, or do they do master splits like I was talking about with stem.io? Like, that can be a reason to do it. None of them are going to inherently get you more streams or more playlist placements. They just get it on the service, and they get paid from the services, and then they distribute the money to you. So ultimately, I think you would ask 3 people and they would tell you 3 different experiences with each of them. So
Do a little research.
just do a little research. There's no right or wrong. Pick one.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah.
So
Whatever makes sense for you.
exactly. Awesome. Cool. We'll call that a successful AMA.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Made It in Music podcast. Make sure to check out our other episodes. We have well over 100 interviews with some of the top music industry pros, many here in Nashville and many from all over the world. Subscribe to make sure that you automatically get future episodes, and leave us a review if you loved it. It would really help us out. Or send an email to support@fullcirclemusic.com if you have ideas for how we can improve the show. See you in the next episode.